family vacation, a massive cruise ship sailing through international waters, 3 siblings sharing a cabin, and a tragedy that would leave investigators searching for answers long after the ship returned to port. When passengers boarded the Carnival Horizon in November 2025, they expected a week of relaxation and celebration. Instead, one family would find itself at the center of a federal murder investigation. An 18-year-old young woman would be found dead. A 16-year-old boy would become the primary suspect. And a judge would later issue a ruling containing language so alarming that it immediately reignited public attention surrounding the case. What happened aboard that cruise ship? And why did a federal judge decide that a teenager who had previously been released should be taken back into custody? This is the case of Anna Kepner, and the questions surrounding her death continue to echo through courtrooms and headlines alike. Welcome back, everyone. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found us. You're about to dive into a true crime mystery that will stay with you. Trust me, you don't want to miss a thing. Before we begin, where are you listening from today? Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing how far this amazing community reaches. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a chilling story like this. Let's dive into the mystery. Ready? Let's begin.
The vacation. For blended families, shared vacations often represent new beginnings. The cruise aboard the Carnival Horizon was intended to be exactly that. According to court records, the trip marked the first cruise taken by the newly blended family following the marriage of Timothy Hudson's mother, Chantel Hudson, to Anna Kepner's father, Christopher Kepner. It was supposed to be a chance for the family to bond, a chance to create memories, a chance to celebrate a new chapter. Instead, it would become the setting for a devastating tragedy. As the ship traveled through international waters, thousands of passengers went about their vacations. Restaurants remained busy. Entertainment shows continued. Families explored the vessel. Nothing appeared unusual. But behind one cabin door, events were unfolding that would later become the focus of a federal criminal investigation.
The last known hours. According to court filings, Anna Kepner was last seen returning to the cabin she shared with Timothy Hudson and her younger half-brother during the evening of November 6, 2025. At the time, nobody had reason to believe anything was wrong. There were no public warnings, no emergency alerts, no signs that anything unusual had occurred. Hours passed. Then came the following day. What investigators say happened next transformed the voyage into a crime scene. Shortly before noon, Anna was discovered beneath a bed inside the cabin. The discovery immediately triggered concern. Authorities were notified. An investigation began. Passengers who had been enjoying their vacations suddenly found themselves aboard a ship connected to a death investigation. For Anna's family, however, the situation was far more than an investigation. It was the beginning of a nightmare.
The investigation. As investigators examined the circumstances surrounding Anna's death, they began collecting evidence and interviewing witnesses. The Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Office would later determine that Anna's cause of death was mechanical asphyxiation and rule the manner of death a homicide. Those findings significantly changed the direction of the investigation. What may initially have appeared to be an unexplained death was now being treated as a criminal case. Federal authorities became involved. Because the incident occurred aboard a cruise ship traveling through international waters, jurisdictional questions added another layer of complexity. Investigators worked to reconstruct the timeline. Who had last seen Anna? What happened inside the cabin? Who was present? And what evidence could help explain the events leading up to her death? Those questions would eventually lead prosecutors toward a single suspect, Timothy Hudson.
The allegations. Federal prosecutors accused Hudson of crimes including murder and aggravated sexual abuse. Hudson has been charged but has not been convicted. As with all criminal cases, the allegations remain subject to judicial proceedings and the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in court. The accusations nevertheless drew widespread public attention due to both their severity and the family relationship involved. According to prosecutors, evidence gathered during the investigation supported the charges filed against Hudson. Defense attorneys are expected to challenge aspects of the government's case as proceedings continue. As the legal battle developed, attention increasingly shifted from the ship itself to the courtroom. A surprising release. When Hudson first appeared in federal court in February 2026, an unexpected development occurred. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, he was released into the custody of a family member. To many observers, the decision was surprising. But the explanation was rooted in federal law. At that stage of the proceedings, Hudson was being charged as a juvenile. Under the Juvenile Detention Act, courts place significant emphasis on rehabilitation rather than punishment. The law strongly discourages pretrial detention for minors, except under specific circumstances. As a result, the court determined that Hudson could remain in the custody of a family member while the case proceeded. For some members of the public, the decision sparked frustration. For Anna's family, the reaction was even more personal. In a statement released following the hearing, Anna's father and Hudson's mother expressed distress over the fact that the individual accused in the case was not being held in custody. Their statement reflected the grief and pain surrounding the loss of Anna. Yet the legal process continued. And months later, everything changed.
The judge's reversal. After prosecutors sought to revoke Hudson's release, the case returned before Judge Edwin Torres. By that point, circumstances had shifted dramatically. Hudson was no longer proceeding solely as a juvenile defendant. He was now facing prosecution as an adult. Judge Torres reviewed the evidence, the charges, and the government's arguments. Then he issued a ruling that immediately drew national attention. In the written order, the judge stated that the prosecution's evidence supporting the aggravated sexual abuse allegation was beyond clear and convincing. The judge further expressed concerns about dangerousness and public safety. Based on those findings, Judge Torres concluded that Hudson should no longer remain free pending trial. The court ordered him to surrender. On June 15th, Hudson turned himself in to U.S. Marshals. The teenager who had previously been released was now back in federal custody.
The questions that remain. Despite the dramatic court rulings, many of the most important questions remain unanswered. What exactly happened inside that cabin? What evidence will ultimately be presented to a jury? How will prosecutors attempt to prove their case? What challenges will the defense raise? And perhaps most importantly, what conclusions will a jury eventually reach? At this stage, the courtroom battle is far from over. Charges have been filed, arguments have been made, judicial rulings have been issued, but a final verdict has not been reached.
Conclusion. What began as a family vacation became a federal criminal investigation. What was intended to be a celebration became a tragedy. And what happened aboard a cruise ship traveling through international waters continues to raise difficult and emotional questions. For Anna Kepner's loved ones, the case is about a young woman whose life ended far too soon. For investigators, it is about determining exactly what occurred aboard the Horizon. For the courts, it is about ensuring that justice follows evidence, procedure, and the rule of law. And for the public, it remains a story filled with unanswered questions. A cruise ship, a cabin, a family tragedy, and a case whose final chapter has yet to be written. As the legal proceedings move forward, the world will continue watching to see what happens next.
Thanks for watching and being part of this community. If you found this video informative, do not hesitate to subscribe, comment, like, share, and tell a friend about us. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed.